Hello, 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 and welcome to Visionary Empaths Unite. Take a couple minutes and let folks get on. Hey, Tiffany, how are you? Hope you're well. Hey, Maggie, yay, you're here. Awesome, India, so glad to see you here. I hope can you guys hear me okay? Want to make sure I can be heard. Great. Gregory McMillan. Yeah, beautiful. Great. So we're filling some space here, getting a few people online with us. Our guest of honor is artist Maggie Griffin here, and we're going to have a really great um, topic this evening. Maggie is an empath, a reiki master, and she is also, what I love about this, she is an end-of-life doula. And so she's going to share more about that calling. And so for those of you who don't know who I am, you're on my page, but you do know who I am. But in this context, I am a visionary empath. All right, is this better? Tell me if it's better. I'm a visionary empath coach, and so I work with other empaths. Maggie, you said it's staticky. Let me check this mic. This is brand new because I didn't want to have any technology issues like we did last week, so I wanted to make sure it's better. Okay. So, my name is Ber-Henda, and I'm a visionary empath coach, and I work with fellow empaths, and particularly the visionary, who not only feels the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of others, but they actually want to create a better world through entrepreneurship, social enterprises, community building, and gathering. And so this particular type of empath has a charge. So they have a certain group of people or areas in which they've been called to serve in. So, for example, our empath this evening, Maggie, is an end of life doula. And so, in the context of doula, we usually think about a doula being one who delivers life into this world. Hey, Kathleen. But the end of life doula actually helps those to transition. And that is a very, 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 very sensitive area for many people. You do have to have a certain disposition in order to support that. And Maggie has just that. And so the empath, for those who are not familiar, they have the ability to um, have precognition. They have the ability, many have dreams. Hey, Jen, how are you? They have really, 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 really deep and vivid dreams. Some of these dreams are forewarnings. These dreams can lead to clues or provide insights for others. I love how our earth empaths are really connected to the earth. Like George Washington Carver, who's a plant empath, had the ability to find 100 uses or more for the peanut and other plants. And when he was asked, well, how were you able to do this? And he said, well, the plants talk to me. And so our empaths, and for those of you who are on, are probably empathic yourself, where you've been into buildings or homes or spaces where you can feel the energy of the space, know things without really knowing them. Another telltale sign of the empath. Good, glad the static is gone. Um, Random strangers like to share with you really deep and personal things that go on in their lives. And what's really beautiful is that people don't have enough spaces to tell or to share and to be open and vulnerable. So the empath, I don't know what it is about the grocery store, but the grocery store is a space where an impromptu therapy session can happen, and the empath can feel into the conversation and seemingly know exactly what to say. And many empaths are associated with being, oh, you have such great energy, you have such a warm spirit, you are a light. And this is, of course, not to be taken lightly. This is a time where I feel that empaths are being summoned in this way because there is a larger work to do. And as we've seen, in contrast and with leadership in this country, that the ego is running rampant. Fear is on high agenda to create panic and anger and separation, whereas the empath is love. And so they're able to show up really bold and really courageously, um, and teach others how to do the same through their ability to really, really, really deeply connect. So, so that's that bit. And so we're here every Tuesday evening. We're here via Facebook Live to have a conversation with other fellow visionary empaths. And so, Maggie, did you get your invitation? Double check for me so that I can bring you onto the camera, because tonight's show I feel is going to be very rich and impactful. And we're really going to enjoy the conversation here. Maggie is such a beautiful spirit. Um, she's so compassionate, and there she is. All right, Maggie. Hey!
Hey!
So
So
excited.
excited!
Yeah,
Yeah, so let me turn on my body. Okay.
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 How are
How are
you?
you?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Really
Really
excited to be
excited to be
with
with
you.
you.
Oh,
Oh,
I lost
I
you.
lost you.
Awesome.
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 And I
And I
also have
also have
people
people
that
that
had a
had a
hand
hand
raising
raising
me.
me.
So
So
Leslie,
Leslie,
Leslie
Leslie
Tompkins
Tompkins
is
is
on the
on.
line. I don't
I
know
don't
if
know
you
if you
can
can
see
see
people
people
on
on
your
your
end on
end
the
on the
feed.
feed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kathleen
Kathleen
says that
says that
she
she
can't hear
can't hear
you.
you.
So can
So
you
can you
maybe
maybe
adjust the
adjust the
volume a
volume a
little
little
bit?
bit?
Um, the
The
volume.
volume.
It's
It's
still a
still
little
a
low.
little low.
Yeah, grab
Yeah,
the
grab the
earbuds.
earbuds.
We'll be right
We'll be
with you.
right. Look, we're right here.
No
No
problem.
problem.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
So this is
So
what I
this is
love
what I
about
love about
Facebook
Facebook
Live.
Live.
It is
It
very
is
real.
very real.
In real
In real
time and
time,
very
it's very
authentic.
authentic.
So
So
for those
for
of
those
you
of
who
you who
are here
are here
present,
present,
if you could
if
just
you could
shout
just
your
shout your
name out
name
and where
and
you're
your
and
and
please feel
please feel
free
free
to
to
ask us
ask
questions.
us questions.
Okay, is that better?
Oh yes. Yes.
All right,
Much.
then we're all set.
We are all set.
Good.
Kathleen, how the levels for you? I just want to make sure that Kathleen can hear.
Sure.
Yeah. She joins us every week, and I just love her energy and her spirit. So, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so you sound wonderful to me.
Okay.
And I just want to say, well, one, thank you for agreeing to be interviewed on our weekly series. And you are a very multifaceted empath.
Yes.
um, Reiki master, yes.
Yes.
Uh, End of life doula,
Yes. Uh,
yes.
it's interesting as we're talking, I'm starting to see some people that I know show up, and it must be like some kind of notice on my side, and I'm going,
Mhm.
oh, oh.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I know. It's like
Literally,
everyone's watching.
yeah, literally, like, wow, what are some of these people gonna say now? So, yes, I am a Reiki master, and I am an end of life doula as well. For those who don't know what that is somebody who has the privilege and honor to
Mhm.
help a person transition into for some people, they believe into the next life. What I believe is returning to the life that we once came from in the first place.
Mhm.
So that is it's a gift. That
Yes.
is not an easy thing to do, but it is a blessing and a gift that I am very honored to be able to do for people.
Absolutely. And as I was sharing, just before we got connected, that a lot of times we think of doula in terms of bringing life forward, bringing life into the world,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't often think about the support that's needed for transition just as much, if not more, when we're now exiting or
Yes.
transitioning,
Mm-hmm.
back to God, source, the infinite,
Right.
whatever people want to
Right.
you know, frame that. So if you can explain a bit about how you woke up to your superpower of being an empath.
Sure. So, certainly for some people watching who know me, they may not know this about me. So, it could be a little much for them, but that's for them, not for me. All due respect. I think growing up, I always knew that there was some extra knowledge there,
Hmm.
but I was raised Catholic, and certainly there are some things about that when you have extra knowledge, extra sensory perception, and when you can feel different things from people that is not encouraged. So you squash that. Oops, hold on. Sorry, I fell.
Yep.
Sorry. You squash that, right? And you
Yep.
don't want people to know, or people don't want that to be known. So it
Yeah.
becomes a quiet thing. Unfortunately, for those people, it usually ends up showing up again, at another time in your life.
Hmm.
So in 2014, I had a accident at work, and I was hit on the head and incurred a traumatic brain injury. So some people can affectionately call that a concussion as well. There are different levels of traumatic brain injuries, and things just really changed after that. I had been doing doula work prior to that, probably more than likely helped to transition my dad and didn't know it. But then understood that that was sort of my position, what I should have been doing.
Yeah.
And with the brain injury, a lot of different things come. So, for people who have them, there's a lot of different symptoms that come up. And one of the difficult things that can come up is that idea between what you're listening to and what's real. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So having that empath quality, as you were talking about earlier, going to the grocery store is agonizing because everybody and their brother wants to talk to you,
To talk to you. Yes.
and share things with you. which is okay to a degree, but it's also can be a challenge. If you put it into the end of life doula context, then it's something that you get to hear that person that you're transitioning move. You get to hear their thoughts, their ideas, and especially when they're in a state that maybe they no longer can communicate this way, but then
Mm-hmm.
they're communicating, that way
That's
with
right.
you. So it's a gift. Some people will call it, it's fine to me, but death doula, whatever makes them feel comfortable. And some people just go, what? You, you do what?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, why? Why would you do that? Why would you help someone die? Why would you help a child come into the world?
Yeah.
It's for me, it's the same thing, because helping someone to live the last part of their life with dignity,
Yes.
without fear, to help them transition and to hear all of those things is an honor. And the fellow doulas that I know and that I've trained with, we all know it's a gift. And to be an empath and have that is an even bigger gift.
Sure. Sure. And I can only imagine, especially those who I've had individuals speak to me about working in geriatrics,
Mm-hmm.
being geriatric nurses,
Yeah.
yet they're connected to their patients in this much deeper way
Mm-hmm.
where they can
Patience.
feel.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They
Patience
can,
is huge.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Patience is ginormous. Knowing when to step back and know that it's your time as a doula to be there, or it's time to step back and you can feel that that person needs to transition with the people that are important to them. And you're
Mm-hmm.
able to help people make that connection. I think I mentioned to you there's a lot of words that are important to people. When you're dating somebody and your friend might say, oh, did they say the 3 words, right? And you're thinking, what do they say? I love you. Or, you say your vows and it's I do, or I'm sorry, a
Yeah.
true apology. The words at that moment for helping someone to transition is, I give you permission to go. Those are hard words for a lot of people to say because we are selfish by nature, right? And being selfish by nature, we want to hold on to that person. We don't want them to leave us. When you're an empath and you hear even more, you're often going, oh, who else is coming to the party? Who else is
Yes.
going to be here? And you're doing the work for the person that's transitioning. You're having care. You're being gentle, and you're really listening, but you have to protect yourself as well as an empath, because there's so much that's coming up at that time.
Absolutely. And I shared with you prior to this conversation that I was privileged to help my grandmother transition and didn't know it. She and I had a nonverbal conversation because she lost the ability to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But her words, I felt it was more a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for different empaths, it's going to show up differently. There's feeling, knowing,
Mm-hmm.
the senses register differently.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I knew that our bond, as family, it just brought us, I feel, that much closer
Mm-hmm.
because she was able to have a conversation with me that, well, one, it was just the two of us.
Mm-hmm. It's an
Yeah.
honor. It's an honor. And it does exactly what you're experiencing right now. It's a plethora of emotion, right? It's a lot that comes out, and I feel you. I can see it right now, and I totally understand and I honor it.
Yeah.
When you are an empath, when you are sensitive, when you have that knowing, and some people are probably going, oh, empath, come on, whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, the bottom line becomes you know what you know. And
You
when you,
know what you know, and you
right,
can't unknow what you know.
no, and when you feel that stuff in your gut, when you walk up to somebody and you go, ooh,
Yeah. Yep.
if more people paid attention to that, we would feel that intuition and help us be guided, help us feel the things that we are supposed to feel as an empath, as somebody who holds on to that information. And sometimes you walk by somebody and you go, whoa, I'm going to run that way. Because you're like, for the love of, oh my goodness, what is that person doing? And that's just how it is. I think that with the blessing, of God, with being able to feel, you come into that peace that you're either going to walk this journey
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to help people transition, or you don't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, but protection is huge. It's ginormous in this piece.
Yes. So let's talk about that, because I had a girlfriend that texted me the other day. I was hoping she would be online to get some tools for grounding
Mm-hmm.
and shielding, because she's now getting, excuse me, overloaded,
Mm-hmm.
a sensory overload.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't believe that her friends are doing it intentionally, but just the sadness and the grief that some people in her circle are going through,
Sure.
as an empath, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to feel it literally as if it were your own.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could share some
Sure.
techniques that you use to help you ground and
Sure.
shield. Yeah.
So I think it's important, when people, if they're not familiar with this language, it
Hmm.
still is something that we do on a daily basis. When we're at work and Debbie Downer is sitting two over from you, right? You're not walking by Debbie Downer to ask her to go to lunch with you, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to take all that on. And the way that you can kind of protect against that is to sort of envision that you have that sort of bubble around you, and I
Hmm.
know it's a funny saying and I mess it up all the time. Kids always say it, whatever I say bounces off me and sticks to you
Sticks to you and stays to you.
like glue or something like that.
Yes.
And that's kind of part of it, that that has a lot to do with that protection, with letting somebody else keep it over there. So protection is big. Grounding some people struggle with, but look, this is pretty simple. The word ground, right,
Hmm.
is to be on the ground, to be
Yeah.
with Mother Earth. And Mother Earth comes from the God that we have, whatever you call that God. And so when you ground, you go outside and you stand in the earth and you put your feet in and you root
Hmm.
in. It's just like our faith. We root into our
Come
faith,
on.
and we know and we believe, and
Yes.
it
Right.
is God, it is whoever is in that faith up there, and you are
Yep.
in, and you are for that peace that you need. And you hear people say, oh God, please help me. Okay, please help me. Right? So that grounding, I think,
Oh, that's rich. I
is
love that.
so important for everybody, no matter what faith that you are in, that you can grab that down and take it. Another thing I try to encourage people to do, take care of you.
Yeah.
take care of you before you take care of everybody else, because you can't be a good you if you're worried about everybody else.
That's right.
And that is a huge thing, to think about yourself before you think about other people. There's nothing selfish about that. You weren't put here for everybody else's journey, right?
Ooh.
You were put here for your journey. That's the truth. So the more you take care of you, is the more you can be a better you, and be a better spouse, and be a better friend, and be a better parent. But if you're too busy running from the stuff that you don't want to face, running from things that are not helpful, or just going to do for everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
eventually yours is going to catch up, right?
Yes.
And your emotions can overload you, and you go, oh, whose emotions are these? Well, are they yours?
Right. So, yeah, speak to, if you can, please speak to that piece, because I think that there are sometimes mislabelings, and I will never tell anyone not to go to a therapist
Sure.
to help sort things out.
Absolutely. You absolutely should go. I think the worst thing you could do is acting like they can't help you, because they
Yes.
can. And
But
especially
to
if
your
you,
point, yeah, but
yes,
to your point about the absorption of other people's energy,
yes,
that can bring about some
mm-hmm,
depression or
yes,
anxiety, because they're not really your feelings. So if you could speak to how to sort out.
sure. So India just said, she experiences that. And here's the thing that I try to talk to people about is be intentional.
Mm,
Be intentional about your gifts, your faith, your feeling, and what's yours and what isn't. When you are intentional about what is yours and what isn't, then you are able to go, well, I just walked by that person and I feel like absolute crap. Oh, wow. Oh, now I'm leaving and I don't feel like crap anymore, right? Because that
mm-hmm.
person that you just walked by is now no longer in your space.
Yeah.
So, what I always try to do is imagine, you know, who did that belong to? It's kind of
Yeah.
like you're on the baseball field and the kid, you hit the home run and it goes over the fence and somebody picks up the ball and they're like, this is mine. No, actually it belonged to that guy over there who just hit the home run. Let's give it back to him. Right? Where are you giving it back to? Who's
Yeah.
owning that? Because you can own everybody's stuff.
Yes, you can.
You can own everybody's stuff in the world, everybody's guilt, everybody's shame. Shame is a lack of the ability. Shame stops us from being motivated. It stops us from feeling the stuff we're supposed to feel. So every emotion we have, we're grabbing it from other people sometimes. And instead of protecting ourselves and being intentional about who we are and sorting that out, stops us from really figuring out what belongs to us and what doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can also speak to, um, because I know empaths are not necessarily women, we have male empaths.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
This is not a gender specific.
No.
However, I've noticed for women that martyrdom, because you feel into it, you feel that you're there, it should follow up with some sort of action.
Sure.
So if you could speak to that piece.
Sure. So, that's that thing where I'll speak as a mom. I'm like, oh, I feel horrible because I just did that. But really, what is that guilt doing for you? If you
Hmm.
weren't talking about that guilt, here's a big question: what would you be talking about? What
Yeah.
would
Hmm.
you be talking about if you weren't doing that? So, removing the toxicity, is very important. But what I say with that is also important, understanding whose toxicity it is. Because if it's you looking in the mirror and you don't like what you see because somebody else gave you a reflection, you can't cut that person off necessarily because they gave you something you didn't like. You really might need to see that, myself included.
Hmm. Okay, come on, life coach, because that's the other part of who you are.
Right? So if you need to see that, then you need to look and go, well, wait, I need to work on that. I can't shut that person out of my life
Yeah.
because I'm miserable. I can't shut them out because I'm not willing to heal myself. Well, I mean, you can go ahead, but it doesn't really fix anything long term,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
And I
especially
think
as women, we want to fix people. I'm sure
we
there's
love
some men.
projects.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some men out there who want to fix people too. But if you're not going to face what's looking in the mirror and you're not going to figure out how to take care of you and be intentional with who you are and protect
Mm,
your energy and know when to step away, then it overwhelms you and it can absolutely lead to other things like depression, mental
yeah.
illness, just stuff that, look, it's real. It's absolutely real. I'm not a
Yeah.
therapist and I don't play one on TV either. It's not
Mm-hmm.
my job. But I am able to say, I think we need to talk about this a little more. And I'm not making all these people my projects, but I'll help you. And there's a time where you have to go get help yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, in your role as an end of life doula,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the visionary empath piece that I speak to,
Mm-hmm.
where you know exactly who you are here to serve.
Yes.
So it's not that you're trying to fix everyone and everybody.
Mm-mm.
You have a very, very, very specific charge.
Yes.
These are your people.
Mm-hmm.
Not these people over there, not that issue over there, because we run ourselves ragged trying to be the fixer for everything and
Right.
everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's really important. So if you could even speak to, and I know you touched on a little bit, that this work sort of emerged for you as you were helping your father transition.
Yes. I don't think I realized I was doing some of that when I was
Yeah, so
doing it.
say more on that.
I had the opportunity to be with the gift, the blessing to be with my dad as well as other immediate family members. And we all, I think, helped him transition in our own different ways, holding space for him, giving him
Mm,
permission to go, making it feel okay that, yes, I want you to stay,
mm-hmm.
but the selfish side of me that wants you to stay needs to hightail it for a little while because the peaceful part of me that doesn't want you here unhappy and miserable and in pain needs to step up and needs to be able to say, I've said these words before and I'll say them again. I give you permission to go.
Yeah.
There is an extremely powerful book that I was gifted from my husband when my father was ill. It's called Dying Well. It's by Dr.
Yes, one of my friends just inboxed me that. Yeah.
It's by Dr. Ira Bycock and Leslie. I'm going to tell you that's exactly why. I just saw her comment.
Mm,
The book talks to you about the idea of hospice, and he's absolutely amazing. And so many people think hospice is like for the dying. It's not. It's not for the dying. It's for the person who's in transition or who is ill. And the book helps. It actually has, if you read the book, experiences of people, of hearing angels, of knowing these things are coming.
yeah.
When your loved ones are reaching out when they're sick, they're not reaching out for a glass of water. They're reaching out because they can see their family. They can see their loved ones who've passed on. And being there in that space, being able to give somebody that grace is super, super powerful and
Yeah.
super emotional. And it's a gift.
It is totally a gift. It is totally a blessing to be with someone, as they're in the midst of their transition.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how you spoke to hearing angels.
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting because my grandmother passed at home, and you could feel
Mm-hmm.
death looming. Like you could feel it. It was palpable. You could feel
Absolutely.
death. And I wouldn't say that it was, I think we watched maybe too many movies.
Right. Where
And
you're
so
like, oh, they look so pretty and they're so peaceful. Look, other than being born, the most difficult thing your body will ever do is die.
yeah.
Your body goes through, it has to shut down. All of the organs have to shut down. It's not boom. I mean, I've heard this in different areas of what I do, that some people feel like that quick shot of just dying in, a car accident or something tragic that happens fast is better than the elongated
Yeah.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been there in this lifetime. But what I can say is when all of those things are happening, it takes time for your body to shut down. And
Mm-hmm.
when your family members are playing rock and roll over there in the other room, and so wants to go get you your favorite dinner because they think you want to eat it, your body is going, peace out, kids. Like, I need to die. My physical body's working on dying, and it's so hard. And our emotional body is doing it. And then being an empath, we're in the room going, well, whew, the emotions are there.
Right.
And then all the people around you. And it's
Yeah.
even more of a challenge when it's a child, when that
Ooh.
letting go of a child because they haven't lived their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder sometimes if people envisioned what your vision is of a good death.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people watching this now or watching this later can sit down and say, this is my vision of a good death,
Yeah.
my version as well. What
Mm-hmm.
have you done? Because if you were going to die tomorrow, would your friends have any idea what you wanted?
Yeah.
As a doula, that's what we look at. And then as a doula who's an empath and feels all of it, we're the ones going, oh yeah, no, Bob doesn't really want the
Want
big funeral. he's he's not interested in that, right? And sometimes it's not a speaking clairvoyant, it's a speaking like this. As a doula, we are the ones who get to be with that person, and they
mm-hmm.
say to me, I need you to tell my family I don't want these things. So it's an active role. And then you take the empath and you pour kind of all the emotions into it, and you're like, oh, wow, this is big. It's big work.
Huge. Huge work.
It is, but it's for everybody.
Yeah.
It's for
And I love that you're
everybody.
doing this work. I love that you're doing this amazing work because I think that in our educational system, we're not always invited
Mm-mm,
to explore who we are.
mm-mm.
It's what you want to do.
Right.
And as an empath and as a doula, this is who you are.
Mm-hmm,
There's some inclinations there. There's things that just come to you really intuitively,
mm-hmm.
instinctively to do.
Right.
You are able to process and synthesize very complex emotions,
Mm-hmm,
and you're able to voice things. As I'm listening to you speak, you're able to give voice and agency to those who perhaps cannot.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes on a bad day too. I mean, you'd be foolish to sit here and act like you don't have, or I don't personally have my rough days too. My days where the brain injury is like, hey, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, right? I'm hanging out with you today.
Yeah.
My speech, memory,
Yeah.
saying something I really actually didn't mean to say, not even realizing that I said it. Anger, frustration,
Mm.
starting to fight about the laundry and you don't even know why, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not just my brain injury anymore. It's my husband's, it's my children's, It's my family, it's my friends, because they all have to experience that. And that sucks some days.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sucks.
Yeah.
And other days, it's a huge blessing because you get to help people after you've helped yourself.
Yeah.
And as an empath, as somebody who feels those things, and I know there's people watching this going, wait, is that what I am?
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh no, I just kind of like, I just know what I know. And I guess I would question people, how do you know it?
Yeah.
Like if you didn't get a text message,
Right.
you
Or
didn't get,
Google it.
you didn't Google it, you didn't get an email, how'd you know it?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you have faith and you're calling up on that faith, that you're up on that mountain doing your thing, right?
That's right.
Then that stuff's going to roll downward. It's going to go right down where it needs to go to share with the other people around you. So
Yeah.
everybody, I believe, is born with that innate ability to feel, that ability to have
Sure.
strong intuition. And some of us go, poof, see you later.
Yeah. We don't want to indulge it. We don't want to
Mm-mm.
open our up to it. And I would venture to say that, before we had homes or shelter, if we're out in the wilderness, wouldn't a sixth sense really benefit you? That if you're
Right?
out, like, maybe we shouldn't go in that direction
Right.
because there's danger
Right. Because we're
there.
going to get hurt over there. So now we look at it and go, ooh, Debbie Downer seems like danger over there. She's just going to wreck my entire day. I am not going over there, right?
Yeah.
Or, Bob the Brute over there is like, whew, he's just some bad news. And I'm going to go back and just challenge people. You know what you know, but
That's
how do you know it? What is your intuition? Are you
right.
busy running from it? Because they say fear has two meanings: face
Mm.
everything and run, or face everything and rise,
Mm.
right? Face everything and run, or face everything and rise.
Oh, you're so wise.
Now, I've heard it also as fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. The bottom line is, what do you want to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah. And knees shaking and teeth chattering, I stepped out on this and met you and met so many wonderful
Mm,
individuals
yeah,
who didn't run,
no.
that have
Look,
embraced.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm sitting here watching some of these people come up going, so and so is watching, and I'm like, oh, geez, I'm going to get a text message from them tomorrow that's going to say, you're
Mm-hmm.
crazy. There's somebody along the line that I'm sure I've done some work with, or, in a job somewhere, done something, and they're going to be like, well, yeah, I always knew you were batshit. Well, okay, that's good for
Mm-hmm.
you.
Right. That's good.
You
That's
roll
good
with
for
it.
you.
Yeah, go on with yourself. If I'm not ready to own who I am and own who I need to be and try to heal myself and ask people to be on that journey,
Yeah.
and what am I here for?
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
it's it's a big journey for all of us. And I think you made a comment earlier about ego. Is it okay if I touch on that real quick?
Sure. Sure.
So our ego is what separates us, I believe, from each other.
Yeah.
So those people who kind of run around going, oh, I've got no ego,
Hmm.
okay, but if you didn't have one, how are you still here?
Mm.
Ego is what separates me from you. And so when we look at that ego and we figure out what our negative ego beliefs are, then we can face them and try to move through them.
Yeah.
When we're busy running from them, then ego's kicked our butt. That's exactly what it's done.
Mm.
And when we get to that point in our life where we're transitioning, the only thing that can, or one of the few things that can prevent us, is that ego, that negative ego.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn, you're trying my kind of, you know what, too, girl. I just saw her comment. You're kind of
Hey, Dawn.
batshit. I'll take it.
Mm.
Um, but you know, people, we have our soul, right? You know,
Yeah.
you believe in your soul, right?
Oh, yeah,
What
absolutely.
is the one thing that is connecting our soul to this body? What is what is it?
It's the ego.
It's the breath.
Yeah.
The breath, right?
Yeah.
This body, the ego, this body is protecting our soul. And once we lose the breath, where does our soul go? Right? Back where it went to. So the ego sits there, right? That's part of it.
Yeah.
And when you're an empath, you question, whoa, was that my ego or was that Ber-Henda's ego?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Was
Mm-hmm.
she feeling crappy today and I talked to her and then I grabbed it? What'd you grab it for? It wasn't yours,
Wasn't for yours.
right? It wasn't for you. So, you know, going back to your question about how do you keep people? What tools do you give them? Protection, huge. Protection is huge, whether it be sort of, you know, that imaginary bubble
Mm-hmm.
or some people use crystals. I love
Yeah.
crystals, you know,
Mm-hmm.
using crystals to protect yourself. How about just the simple idea of waking up and going, and this is mine, and you can keep yours, right?
Yeah.
Being patient, being
Mm.
patient with yourself,
Mm.
letting those things flow and being okay, taking care of yourself, like I said, being intentional. Find your tribe. Find your tribe.
Yeah.
Find the people who, and Dawn made a funny comment earlier that doesn't bother me at all. Find your tribe that thinks you're batshit too and loves you for it no matter what. Because the
I
ones who
think
don't
that's really
aren't supposed
important.
to be in your, if they're not in your corner, you may move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. And it doesn't serve you to hold on to them either.
Mm-mm. No, it doesn't. But that's our humanness,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
that we want to hold on because we've had such a good time for so long, or the relationship has been there, but sometimes, as much as it hurts,
Mm.
you know, it's done. But I think finding your tribe is one of the biggest things you can do for yourself. And there's a lady, if people haven't heard from her, her name is Dr. Judith Orloff.
That's right.
Yeah. She is an amazing, amazing person, and she
Yes,
works
she is.
with empaths and she helps people. Look, you don't even have to be an empath, and if you're not even sure what the word is, or you're going, oh, there's that batshit crazy thing again, good for you. You know, take your stuff, and that's fine. You take what resonates with you here, and
Mm-hmm.
right, and you leave the rest. But she does great work, and I
Yes,
would
she does.
recommend anybody to go read her book and figure it out, because if you're not using it just for empath, use it for your life.
Yeah.
Use it
Because
to
it's great
figure out.
tools.
It
She has
is.
great tools in there,
Yep.
empath or not.
Yep.
She has amazing tools and really helps to support you to really process and manage complex emotions. And it's
Mm-hmm.
multifaceted because she herself is an empath, but I believe
Mm-hmm.
that she also brings the science aspects into it.
Yes. Yes. So for those people who are scientifically based, and I have
Mm-hmm.
one of those, some of
Mm-hmm.
this is woo-woo stuff, and it's a little
Yeah.
weird, right?
Yeah.
And you know that. You've felt that before, but yet
Yeah.
not everything needs a science to prove that it's
No,
actually there, because we have our faith, right?
correct. And we don't have science to determine I'm going to marry you and I'm going to
Right.
love you. We don't go to the doctor and say, could you diagnose this relationship? Tell me if this love, well, can you tell me if I am in love? It's
Mm-hmm.
something you just know.
Right. Yeah. Her name is Dr. Judith Orloff, Orloff.
Hmm.
You can, if you can't find her, go into the internet and type in empath and
Hmm.
Judith, and I promise you she'll come up.
And Kathleen was in my workshop. Kathleen, I believe her information is also in the handout from the workshop. The Dr. Judith Orloff, I think it's like in the first or second page of your handout for the workshop as well. So you can access that really quickly. So Maggie, I really could talk to you all
Oh, thank
evening.
you.
You
So
are
could
such a
I.
pleasure. Yeah, you are such a pleasure and joy. So, if anyone has any further questions about end of life doula, or if they themselves find themselves very comfortable in the area of death and want to be of service in that way, how can they get in touch with you?
They can, I know you tagged me on the group. They can go ahead and just reach out to me via Facebook. I have no problems. I'll answer as many questions as I can. Um, I use Reiki. I'm also a Reiki master. I know you mentioned that
Mm,
earlier.
mm-hmm.
And I use Reiki in there as well as an empath, and part of my end of life doula. And you also touched on being a life coach, absolutely. Going through that and learning about that, I think has been great through the program that I went through with IGC. And
Yes.
I look at all of it and think, I was introduced for a reason, and I'm grateful for that. So I think life has its coaching, right? And then you do other things along with it to figure out, what your purpose is. So people can send me a message. I'm happy to help you, whether it's through Reiki, through meditation, which is, woo, just the way that I survive with a brain injury through daily meditation, or if you
Mm-hmm.
need help with a loved one. And if it's not me, I can help you to find a doula. INELDA, the International End of Life Doula Association, has them all over the place, and I can help you connect with one if you need to, give you some resources, and just lead you down that road. So, and
Mm-hmm.
clearly, if you want somebody to sympathize or empathize with you about a brain injury, give me a call.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be where I was today, without my husband helping, and friends and family, and obviously medical people, and my spiritual journey. So I'm here, if I can help people. And I'm here to learn from everybody. And I've learned
Mm-hmm.
a lot from you. And I'm so grateful for being
Oh,
invited. And I'm here to continue to learn because, like I said, it's my spiritual journey.
yeah.
The people who come along, great. Those who come along and move on, you're here for a reason or a season, and that's good either way.
Yeah. No, that is so the truth. And so I just want to thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Maggie Griffin, who is a Reiki master. And you are able, and yes, she's able to do distance Reiki. I've been able
Yes,
to benefit. So, she's able to do Reiki from a distance, life coach, and end of life doula. And for more information on her, you can check out my page, as this video will live on FB. So, you can check the video out later. But please tune in to Visionary Empaths Unite every Tuesday evening at 6:30. Our guest next week is Anna Suya Basil, and she will be talking about midlife women rising. So she is doing an interesting, telesummit about women in their midlife reclaiming that term, because many times our society begins to toss women away
mm,
as they age. But she's talking about the aging process from such a graceful and spiritual way, and she's even said that she feels sexier now because she knows who she is. Isn't that
right.
amazing?
Yeah,
Because it's like, now I know who I am. Like, I needed the 20s and 30s and 40s to kind of figure it all out,
sure.
but it's like when you hit 50, it's like, oh, okay, no, I know what this is. So she's
Absolutely.
really walking in the world powerfully. And she has a free telesummit that's coming up, and she's interviewing. I can't believe this. She is interviewing so many wonderful, amazing people on her summit. And one is a notable author. So you'll have to check that out. So,
Great.
again, Maggie, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
joining
very
me.
much. Yeah, thank you to all your viewers tonight with your
Yeah,
comments and your love, and thank you to all those who might watch later. Just huge Reiki love to you. Thank you for
huge
being
Ricky
in
love.
this space. I'm very
Yeah,
grateful. Thank you for letting me share. Uh,
absolutely.
I'm not
And I hope you'll be
as
back on.
I
I'd
will.
love to.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
absolutely will. Once I get over the oh my gosh, this is going to be seen.
I know. I'm saying, look, same here. And like, you know
Right.
what? Those who get it, get it. And so those of us who are on the line this evening, please, you can share we're out here now. Share the video.
Yeah.
Tag someone that you may feel is an empath, because like I said, we do this every Tuesday evening. So
Yeah.
come with your questions, your thoughts, your concerns. Feel free to inbox me later.
Yeah.
But I love, love, love. I love seeing some of my clients here on the timeline as well.
That's good.
So yeah, this is the
Thank you.
work. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's big work.
good work.
It's big work, and it's life. It's not a job.
Mm-mm.
It's life. It's just life.
Yeah,
It's the things you do with just who you are, and
yeah,
that I'm grateful for, just being
me
able to
too.
do that till my life changes and shifts as it's supposed to. So thank
Yeah,
you again. Reiki love to
you're
you, and sending
Reiki
lots of
love to
beautiful,
you.
vibes to everybody. And I hope you have a
Absolutely.
blessed evening.
You as well. Talk to you soon,
Thanks.
Maggie.
Bye.
All right, bye.